Today we're going to analyze Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. What led him to be the successful man he was? Was he an ambitious man with only desires for power and money? Or was there a hidden reason behind that? We all know that Gustavo Fring is no stupid man. Even though he lost to Walter White in the end, he still had so many accomplishments to his name. The drug business right under the government's nose without being detected, fast food chain, dealing with Lydia in Europe, and finishing the cartels. Gus's life before his connection to Walter White is mostly unknown in the Breaking Bad series. He avoided detection by acting solely in a carefully thought-out way that would boost revenue without drawing attention to himself. We also know that before becoming Gustavo Fring, owner of the fried chicken restaurant Los Pollos Hermanos, he had had enough status in Chile that the violent Mexican cartel boss would still allow him to live despite believing that his expanded drug business was a crime deserving of harsh corporal punishment. His precise function in Chile is also still unknown. Gus had this German expression called fingertips feeling, which means he had high intuitive instinct that would let him identify danger or a bad plan from afar, such as walking away from the car bomb attempt made by Walter. Plus his previous work in Chile, his calmness, long-term planning, disciplined behavior, and his experience with people, he was able to build his majestic empire despite danger staring at him from every corner. But what could possibly make him desire power to that extent? What do you think is the reason? As suggested in the title, psychopathy could be a possibility. But what caused this psychological dysfunction in Gus? Considering the event in Breaking Bad when Gus's lover Max was shot in front of him by the cartels. This was the Breaking Bad moment for Gus to become obsessed with revenge, making a long-term plan that lasted for 20 years. But taking a look at the events from Better Call Saul, we find an earlier breaking point for Gus that happened during his childhood. He was born in a poor family who lived in a shed made by themselves. He brought the sick and neglected Lacuma tree back to health, symbolizing the subsequent good feelings in his life, Max, and his business. Then a coati destroyed his tree, his passion, his source of food and income, which stood in for Hector and the cartel. Rather than just killing the coati, he prepared a trap that succeeded in wounding it. The injured coati and Gus just waited patiently there, intending to keep the injured coati alive and in misery as retribution for his wrongdoings. Gus told Hector that story at the hospital while doing everything possible to revive him, having absolutely no intention of ever letting him die or rest. Goal-oriented Gus made his way to the top because he strived for power that will help him dominate his enemies and achieving vengeance on the cartels who stole the one person that mattered to him and aided him to attain his mental balance. Therefore, everything he did was planned to succeed, and his dedication to expanding his company was unmatched. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal because legitimate business owners often don't get to determine who lives or dies. But when combined with Gus's personality and beliefs, his employment particularly contributes to the creation of a monster. The well-being of workers or any other human being falls to second place if riches, power, and growth take precedence. This is what makes Gus so terrifying. If there's even the slightest chance that you might harm his business, he'll kill your entire family, not even sparing an infant. Finding out that his workers were using kids from Jesse, Gus used this opportunity to annihilate him while appearing to be a rational and decent human being. To make you more impressed or creeped out by Gus, we will be observing how Gus influences other people. As we said before, he's good at seeing through what people wanted. That's why he could easily use them for his own purposes. For example, he offered Walt $3 million for 3 months of your time. The verbiage gives the impression that Gus values Walt's time, which satisfies his ego and serves the purpose of the plot. Giancarlo Esposito, in an interview with Evan Smith, said, "On one hand, he's very kind. He can be cordial, but on the other hand, underneath it, he's manipulating. He knows what he's doing, and when people are manipulators and have done it and practiced it, they get what they want." In an effort to persuade the silly Gail Bedecker to take Walter's place, he also extends additional attention to him. Gail may be a meth cook, but he is still morally innocent in terms of inflicting harm on other people and utterly undeserving of being exploited and killed, which resulted a feeling of sympathy in the audience. Gus is a husk of a guy, and unlike the stereotypical cliched look evil but is good deep down inside character, it's possible that he genuinely thinks he's doing what needs to be done. Gus's brain is hardwired with this analytical outlook and unsettling inhuman coldness that was seen after the explosion that was the cause of his death. Afterwards, his shock from having his face blown off, he may have acted a little strangely. That's because his brain was overdriven to come up with the optimal reaction to act normally. It merely tried, unreasonably, to appear ordinary walking out of that room. It's comparable to how a chicken can continue to run around after having its head severed for a few minutes. Sometimes after suffering a serious brain injury, the victim will fall back on acquired behaviors and instinct to act as if nothing happened. Similar to how Gus walked calmly out of the room, fixed his tie, and then dropped dead. In conclusion, Gus's motivation that led him to build his great empire was revenge. His psychopathic tendencies and subtle OCD helped him achieve that along the years. He buried morals, empathy, and other humanly feelings somewhere deep down. Thus, he's prepared to harm, kill, lie, and abuse anyone if necessary. Even with all of that stated, the fact that he's an astonishingly wealthy drug kingpin who is the cause of countless murders and primarily responsible for starting and sustaining the drug trade across a quarter of the nation should be enough to make him frightening. Please let us know in the comments if you agree or not, and don't forget to share it with other fans of the series. If you have any suggestions for our upcoming videos, tell us.